Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel here. I'm doing basically like a quick video update on Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, mainly because I know that a lot of people are still confused as to kind of how this is going to work, and I think I found out a good amount of stuff, so I'm going to go through this real quick and try to make this a very short video just so people can kind of get an understanding of what the hell Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis actually is going to be, because let's be perfectly honest, this is probably the most interesting thing that came out of the state of play, because all the other stuff was good enough, but this is like hell yeah. Okay, so oh yeah, before we start though, I am YohTheDestroyer. Welcome to my channel on the show Overpowered Party. This isn't even really Overpowered Party. This is just a fucking fast video. I'm YohTheDestroyer. I'm the Mafia Prince VTuber, and this is your quick little update. Okay, so this is the interview from Famitsu. It's translated, so it's probably like a little bit of, little translation errors here and there. But we're gonna go through this and let's see here. So we have questions basically asking what is this? And Nomura says that this work is another form of remake of the original Final Fantasy VII, where the field is a fixed viewpoint. The character is deformed, so the chibi bodies, and the battle is a real-life command RPG, so the ATB battle system. So basically, this is like another remake of Final Fantasy VII, to a certain extent. So basically, just think Final Fantasy VII, the original, right, with the chibi bodies for the field view, right? And then you have the high-res character models in battle, and the camera angles are like the fixed, either the isometric views or the side views or what have you, right? Just all the old school stuff for this. He also goes on to say the gameplay will be divided into chapters so that you can play it easily, and the contents will cover the original and the compilation works so far. So that's OG Final Fantasy VII, and that also includes Advent Children, Before Crisis, Dirge of Cerberus, and I believe he's somewhere in here. He also says it includes First Soldier as well. So we'll also get another instance of that. Yeah, it says it right here real quick. As well as the Final Fantasy VII series, including the Final Fantasy VII First Soldier announced at this time. So there you go. First Soldier is apparently also going to be in there. He also goes on to say you can enjoy the story part based on the setting of Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. And then he says, since it was before the establishment of the soldier, of course, the young days of that legendary hero are also drawn. So for this right here, we can basically assume that he's talking about Sephiroth, because Sephiroth was the legendary, soldier during that time. That's kind of what he was known as. So it's supposed to be we're going to get to experience a young Sephiroth story, probably before he was the legendary hero or during the time of when he was the legendary war hero, etc., etc. Okay, so in this part here, he talks about the battle system. The interviewer says, is asking, the battle seems to be closer to the command RPG than the battle of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the new one. Can you briefly explain what the battle of this work will be like? Nomura says it will be based on the active time battle of Nomura's original Final Fantasy VII. The materia system also follows the original, and battles will be fought by making full use of the materia, summon beasts, and limit breaks set as weapons. So there you have it. That's the battle system of Ever Crisis. It is the OG battle system, the ATB system from Final Fantasy VII. And basically what that means is we're getting the old system, so it's like turn-based with the high-res models, which is really cool. So this is how this system is a little bit more closer to kind of like the remake that older fans were imagining. So it looks like we're getting that. Okay, and I'm gonna skip down just a little bit because I think this is a little bit more important. Important in the way I think like most people will prioritize asking about this more so. But this is the interviewer asking, I think the work, or I think it will be a work with a strong narrative, but how much voice will be included? So he's asking if there's gonna be like voice acting. And Nomura basically says like, you know, oh, we heavily considered voice acting, but we're kind of like, you know, he says we're very crowded and recording is also very congested. So they probably have like other stuff being worked on for that. And then he says, while there are aspects that I want to avoid new recordings as much as possible, FF7 Ever Crisis is a title based on a compilation work with Final Fantasy VII. So the voice isn't it better not to dare? So I think what he's saying is like, you know, oh, because this is like based more so on the original Final Fantasy VII, there wasn't really voice acting in those games. So, you know, they're not really gonna try and push for that whenever, you know, it's just like the old school, like read the text. And then he says there's also an opinion that it is necessary for battle, but it is under consideration, but it is expected to be the minimum even if it is included. So basically no voice acting for the dialogue boxes like the OG game, but in battle, since we're using like the high-res models or the high-res battle models from like, you know, FF7 Remake, and then eventually the high-res models that we'll get for like Advent Children and Before Crisis and so on and so forth. At the bare minimum, they'll have like voice clips for the high-res models when you're actually in battle. So, you know, it's not just silence and effects, you know, magic effects going off. So that's gonna do it for this video. I just wanted to do like a quick info dump for Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, because I know a lot of people were very interested in what they saw, myself included, being a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, and it just wasn't very clear as to what this was going to be. So I kind of wanted to, you know, piece together what I found to actually help, you know, everybody understand what this actually is. And yeah, I'll just go over a quick little summary here, but it's basically we're getting another remake in Ever Crisis that is much more closer to the original Final Fantasy VII in a chapter-based mobile game. All of the Final Fantasy VII compilation is basically going to be made in the original Final Fantasy VII gameplay style. So, you know, the battle system is based off of the original active time battle system that everybody, you know, fell in love with whenever they played the game. We also know that voice acting is not a priority. At the bare minimum, there will be voice clips added for the battle models, you know, when you're in the high-res battle modes. And basically, just to summarize all of that, this is a different kind of remake that is a lot more closer to the original. I hope this video helped you understand what this is. I'm excited for this. I hope you guys are too. Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video just to help everybody out with that. All right, I'll put a link to the Famitsu article in the description below as well. And that'll be it. Yep. Nice and easy. Subscribe! Ooh.